Introduction. The author of The Story of Modern Life asks if it's possible to learn new skills quickly and with less effort. Most people have a list of things they want to learn, but time and skill are often barriers. The author acknowledges that learning new skills can be frustrating, especially during the initial stages when one is not yet proficient. However, the author believes that rapid skill acquisition is possible and outlines the principles of this approach in the book. The purpose of the book is to help readers acquire new skills in record time with less wasted energy. The author believes that with focused and strategic effort, one can learn a new skill quickly and without the frustration that often accompanies the learning process. The book outlines the principles of rapid skill acquisition and provides practical advice on how to apply them. The principles of rapid skill acquisition involve cultivating a temporary obsession with the skill you want to learn. This means focusing on the skill and removing distractions that might hinder effective practice. The author believes that rapid skill acquisition happens naturally when one is deeply curious and interested in something. The book covers the major principles of rapid skill acquisition, which are not complicated and can be learned quickly. By following these principles, readers can learn any new skill as quickly as possible. The author emphasizes the importance of identifying a skill worthy of temporary obsession and then focusing on it with determination and discipline. The author of The Story of Modern Life believes that rapid skill acquisition is possible and outlines the principles of this approach in the book. By focusing on a skill and removing distractions, readers can learn any new skill quickly and with less frustration. The book provides practical advice and principles to help readers acquire new skills in record time. With determination and discipline, readers can break through the frustration barrier and achieve their goals. Chapter 1. In order to achieve rapid skill acquisition, it's essential to select a lovable project or problem. Karl Popper, a renowned philosopher, believed that the best thing that can happen to someone is to find a problem, fall in love with it, and work towards solving it. This statement is particularly relevant when it comes to learning new skills. Choosing a lovable project or problem is a highly individual matter. For instance, if someone has no immediate need to learn Mandarin Chinese, they may not consider it as a lovable project to tackle. However, if they plan to move to a Mandarin-speaking region in the future, it may become an essential skill to acquire. Therefore, it's important to choose a project that resonates with one's interests and needs. The more passionate and excited you are about the skill you want to acquire, the faster you will learn it. It's easier to stay motivated and focused when you're working on something that you genuinely enjoy. Therefore, it's crucial to identify a project that sparks enthusiasm and dedication. Rapid skill acquisition requires selecting a lovable project or problem. This means choosing a skill that aligns with one's interests and needs. When you're passionate about what you're learning, you're more likely to stay motivated and focused, leading to faster skill acquisition. Chapter 2. When it comes to acquiring new skills, it's essential to focus your energy on one skill at a time, rather than attempting to learn too many skills simultaneously. Concentrated time and focused attention are critical for skill acquisition. If you spread your time and energy across multiple skills, you won't generate noticeable improvement in any of them. It's important to internalize this principle and recognize that acquiring new skills requires a critical mass of time and energy. For some people, focusing on one skill at a time can be emotionally difficult. They may have a Renaissance man temperament and want to learn hundreds of things in different areas simultaneously. However, attempting to learn everything at once leads to slow skill acquisition. Switching between different skills, getting frustrated, and moving on to something else is not a recipe for success. To acquire new skills rapidly, it's essential to pick one new skill and put all your focus and energy into acquiring it. Other skills should be placed on temporary hold. David Allen, the author of Getting Things Done, recommends establishing a someday maybe list, which includes things you may want to explore in the future but are not essential to focus on right now. By adding an item to this list, you're temporarily absolving yourself of responsibility for acting or thinking about it until you decide to promote it to active status. It's crucial to focus your energy on one skill at a time and place other skills on temporary hold. Concentrated time and focused attention are necessary for skill acquisition, and attempting to learn too many skills simultaneously leads to slow progress. It's important to recognize that acquiring new skills requires a critical mass of time and energy. To make rapid progress, pick one skill you wish to acquire, put all your focus and energy into it, and place other skills on temporary hold. It may be emotionally difficult to defer learning new things, but it's important to prioritize and establish a someday maybe list for skills that can be explored in the future when you have more time and energy to devote to them. By following this approach, you can achieve rapid skill acquisition and make noticeable improvements in your chosen skill. Chapter 3. Defining a target performance level is essential when acquiring a new skill. It's a concise statement that describes what good enough looks like. Defining your desired level of skill helps you imagine what it looks like to perform in a certain way. The more specific your target performance level is, the better. It's a single-sentence description of what you're trying to achieve and what you'll be able to do when you're done. How you define your target performance level depends on why you chose to acquire the skill in the first place. If your goal is to have fun, your target is the point at which you stop feeling frustrated and start enjoying the practice itself. If your objective is to perform, you need to determine the minimum level of performance you're willing to accept at first. Once you reach your initial target performance level, you can choose to keep going if you wish. The best target performance levels seem just out of reach, not out of the realm of possibility. It's essential to set realistic goals that challenge you but are not impossible to achieve. The more relaxed your target performance level, the more quickly you can acquire the associated skill. It's crucial to note that some skills have safety considerations that you should always include in your target performance level. Getting hurt or killed while acquiring a new skill defeats the purpose. It's important to remember that world-class mastery is not the endpoint of rapid skill acquisition. The goal is to achieve capacity and sufficiency at maximum speed, not perfection. The more relaxed your target performance level, the faster you can acquire the associated skill. It may feel like cheating to some if you lower the bar to win faster, but it's not. Defining your target performance level helps you figure out how to get there, and in the words of Charles Kettering, a problem well stated is a problem half solved. Defining a target performance level is essential when acquiring a new skill. It's a concise statement that describes what good enough looks like and helps you imagine what it looks like to perform in a certain way. Your target performance level should be specific and realistic, challenging but not impossible to achieve. It's crucial to consider safety considerations when defining your target performance level. The more relaxed your target performance level, the faster you can acquire the associated skill. Remember that the goal of rapid skill acquisition is to achieve capacity and sufficiency at maximum speed, not perfection. Chapter 4. To acquire a new skill efficiently, it's important to break it down into subskills. Most skills are, in fact, a bundle of smaller subskills. Deconstructing a skill into its smallest parts makes it easier to identify the most important subskills. For instance, playing golf involves many subcomponents, such as choosing the right club, driving off the tee, hitting out of a bunker, and putting. Focusing on the critical subskills first leads to more progress with less effort and prevents feeling overwhelmed. Deconstructing a skill also helps identify the parts of the skill that aren't essential for beginning practitioners. Eliminating non-critical subskills or techniques at the outset enables investing more time and energy in mastering the critical subskills first. This approach saves valuable time and effort in the learning process. Acquiring a new skill often requires specific tools, components, and environments. For example, it's challenging to learn how to pilot a helicopter without access to one. Identifying and obtaining the necessary tools and resources before starting practice maximizes the available practice time. It's essential to ensure that you have the best tools you can find and afford to practice efficiently. Breaking down a skill into subskills is critical to acquiring the skill efficiently. Deconstructing a skill helps identify the most important subskills and enables focusing on critical subskills first, saving time and effort. It also helps identify the necessary tools, components, and environments required to practice efficiently. Obtaining the necessary resources before starting practice maximizes the available practice time. It's crucial to ensure that you have the best tools you can find and afford to acquire the skill efficiently. Chapter 5. When acquiring a new skill, it's important to eliminate barriers that make it difficult to practice. These barriers can include misplaced tools, lack of required tools, intermittent resource availability, environmental distractions, and emotional blocks like fear or doubt. Overcoming these barriers requires willpower, which can be in limited supply. Therefore, it's best to rearrange your environment to make it easy to start practicing and remove these soft barriers to practice. Doing so will lead to acquiring the skill in less time. To acquire a new skill, it's essential to make dedicated time for practice. However, finding time for skill acquisition is a myth. You must make time for it. You have 24 hours in a day, and you can't create more time. If you sleep for 8 hours a day, you have 16 hours left. You'll use some of that time to take care of yourself and loved ones, and some will be used for work. The remaining time is what you have for skill acquisition. To improve your skills as quickly as possible, it's best to set aside dedicated blocks of time. The larger the blocks of time, the better. You can make time for skill acquisition by identifying low-value uses of time and eliminating them. Keeping a simple log of how you spend your time for a few days can help you identify low-value activities that you can cut. By doing so, you'll have more time to devote to skill acquisition. The author recommends making time for at least 90 minutes of practice each day by cutting low-value activities as much as possible. This approach requires making tough choices and eliminating activities that do not add significant value to your life. By doing so, you'll have much more time for skill acquisition. Acquiring a new skill requires eliminating barriers that make it difficult to practice, such as misplaced tools, lack of required tools, environmental distractions, or emotional blocks. You can overcome these barriers by rearranging your environment to make it easy to start practicing and remove soft barriers to practice. Making dedicated time for practice is also essential. You can make time for skill acquisition by identifying low-value uses of time, keeping a time log, and eliminating activities that do not add significant value to your life. By doing so, you'll have more time to devote to skill acquisition and improve your skills faster. Chapter 6. To acquire a new skill quickly, it's essential to create fast feedback loops. Fast feedback means getting accurate information about your performance as quickly as possible. The longer it takes to receive feedback, the longer it will take to acquire the skill. For example, the art of cheesemaking involves subtle chemical processes that may take months or years to complete. If it takes 6 months to determine whether your cheese is any good, the delay in feedback makes it challenging to acquire the skill quickly. Fast feedback naturally leads to rapid skill acquisition because it's easier to connect the information to your actions and make the appropriate adjustments. The best forms of feedback are near instantaneous, like programming, where you make a change, and the computer tells you whether it worked or not a few milliseconds later. Practicing in short bursts is also crucial. Our minds are not built to accurately estimate time, but they are designed to learn, notice patterns, simulate potential courses of action, and figure out what's likely to happen next. Therefore, it's easy to overestimate how much time you've spent practicing. Practicing by the clock is an effective technique. Set a countdown timer for 20 minutes and practice until it goes off. This approach makes it easier to complete longer periods of sustained practice, even when you get tired or frustrated. When beginning to acquire a new skill, it's tempting to focus on practicing perfectly, which is a recipe for frustration. Instead, focus on practicing as much as you can, as quickly as possible, while maintaining good enough form. Emphasizing quantity and speed helps you practice more, which leads to faster skill acquisition. Practicing quickly also helps you develop fluidity and proficiency in the skill. Creating fast feedback loops is essential to acquiring a new skill quickly. The faster you receive accurate feedback, the easier it is to connect the information to your actions and make the appropriate adjustments. Practicing in short bursts and emphasizing quantity and speed are also crucial. Practicing by the clock helps you complete longer periods of sustained practice, and focusing on quantity and speed helps you practice more and develop fluidity and proficiency in the skill. By implementing these tips, you can acquire new skills more rapidly. Chapter 7. Research shows that the method discussed in this text can help you acquire skills more quickly. In academic studies of cognitive and motor skill acquisition, researchers have observed that when participants begin to practice a new skill, their performance improves dramatically in a very short period. This phenomenon is known as the power law of practice, and it has been widely studied since at least 1926. The effect has been observed in studies of both physical and mental skills, and any theory of skill acquisition that does not accommodate the power law function for learning can be rejected immediately. The key to rapid skill acquisition is to start practicing as quickly as possible, without thinking about it or worrying about it. It's easy to feel like you're investing a lot of time in a skill without actually practicing much at all. If you've been wanting to learn something for a long time, but you're hesitant to get started, you can spend years of mental and emotional energy without improving one bit. To avoid this non-productive thrashing, it's essential to have a solid strategy and eliminate activities that don't help you acquire the skill. The more time and energy you spend moving through the first two phases of the skill acquisition process and the less time you spend on unproductive activities, the faster you'll acquire the skill. Learning is not the same as skill acquisition, but it's still essential. Doing research before you start practicing can save you time, energy, and emotional fortitude. Learning makes your practice more efficient, allowing you to spend more time working on the most important subskills first. The next chapters explain the major principles of effective learning. The power law of practice has been observed in numerous studies of cognitive and motor skill acquisition. Starting to practice as quickly as possible is the key to rapid skill acquisition. It's important to have a solid strategy and eliminate non-productive activities to focus on the essential subskills. Learning is also crucial, as it makes practice more efficient. The major principles of effective learning will be discussed in the following chapters. By implementing these principles, you can acquire new skills more quickly and efficiently. Chapter 8. To acquire a skill rapidly, it's essential to research the skill and related topics to identify the most important subskills, critical components, and required tools for practice. Spending 20 minutes searching the web, browsing a bookstore, or scanning the stacks at your local library for books and resources can help you identify at least 3 resources connected to the skill you're trying to acquire. The goal of this early research is to create an accurate overview of what the skill acquisition process will look like, so you can prepare more intelligently. Skimming through the resources is better than deep reading for rapid skill acquisition. By noticing ideas and tools that come up over and over again in different texts, you can prepare your practice accordingly. It's common to encounter concepts, techniques, and ideas you don't understand during the early research. This confusion is normal and even desirable because it indicates that you're working on a lovable problem or project. If you're not confused by at least half of your early research, you're not learning as quickly as you're capable of learning. The meaning of the critical subskills and ideas will become clearer later, once you've started practicing. Feeling intimidated or hesitant about the pace you're attempting is normal, but it's essential to move toward the confusion. The more confused you are at the outset, the more internal pressure you'll feel to figure things out, and the faster you'll learn. Not being willing to jump in over your head is the single biggest emotional barrier to rapid skill acquisition. It's important to remind yourself that feeling stupid isn't fun, but you will understand with practice, and this will help you move from confusion to clarity as quickly as possible. Researching the skill and related topics is crucial to identify the most critical subskills, components, and tools required for practice. Spending 20 minutes searching for resources related to the skill can help you prepare more intelligently and create an accurate overview of the skill acquisition process. Skimming through the resources is better than deep reading for rapid skill acquisition. It's common to encounter concepts, techniques, and ideas you don't understand, but this confusion is desirable because it indicates that you're working on a lovable problem or project. Not being willing to jump in over your head is the biggest emotional barrier to rapid skill acquisition. Reminding yourself that feeling stupid is normal and that you will understand with practice can help you move from confusion to clarity quickly. By implementing these tips, you can acquire new skills more rapidly and efficiently. Chapter 9. To make it easier to discuss your experiences with others and anticipate what will happen when you take a specific action, it's crucial to identify mental models and mental hooks. Mental models are patterns, ideas, and techniques that come up repeatedly and are the most basic unit of learning. By collecting accurate mental models, you can understand and label an object or relationship that exists in the world, making it easier to discuss experiences with others. The more mental models and hooks you can identify in your early research, the easier it will be to use them during practice. Inversion is a problem-solving technique that involves imagining the opposite of what you want. By contemplating disaster instead of perfection, you can identify important elements that aren't immediately obvious, gaining insight into a new skill. Early learning also helps set appropriate expectations, as it's common to underestimate the complexity of a task or the number of elements required to perform well. Talking to people who have acquired the skill before you can dispel myths and misconceptions and help you avoid becoming discouraged early in the process. For example, being a rock star is not a single skill, but a bundle of many related subskills that require dedicated practice to develop. Speaking to experienced musicians can help you set realistic expectations and understand what to expect as you progress. This knowledge can sustain your interest in practice and help you avoid becoming discouraged. Identifying mental models and hooks can make it easier to discuss experiences with others and anticipate what will happen when taking specific actions. Inversion, a problem-solving technique, can help gain insight into a new skill by contemplating disaster instead of perfection. Early learning helps set appropriate expectations and avoid underestimating the complexity of a task. Speaking to people who have acquired the skill before you can help dispel myths and misconceptions and sustain your interest in practice. By implementing these tips, you can acquire new skills more efficiently and avoid becoming discouraged early in the process. Chapter 10. To acquire skills rapidly, it's essential to eliminate distractions in your environment that can kill focused practice. Distractions come in two forms: electronic and biological. Electronic distractions include television, phone, and the internet, which should be turned off, unplugged, blocked, or otherwise removed from the environment while practicing. Biological distractions include family members, colleagues, and pets, whom you should let know in advance that you'll be unavailable while practicing. To make use of material learned while practicing, it's crucial to be able to recall related ideas quickly. Many skills require at least some level of memorization, and spaced repetition and reinforcement are effective techniques for memorization. Memory follows a decay curve, and new concepts need to be reinforced regularly to consolidate them into long-term memory. Spaced repetition and reinforcement help systematically review important concepts and information on a regular basis, with difficult ideas reviewed more often than easier and older concepts. Flashcard software programs like OnKey, SuperMemo, and Smarter make spaced repetition and reinforcement simple. By creating flashcards while deconstructing the skill, you can systematize the review process and track recall, helping learn new ideas, techniques, and processes in record time. The Headway app's spaced repetition feature can help learn and remember the most important information from book summaries. Consistent review of the decks can help memorize necessary concepts and ideas quickly. Eliminating distractions is crucial for focused practice, which is necessary for rapid skill acquisition. Electronic distractions like TV, phone, and internet should be turned off or removed, and biological distractions like family members and pets should be notified in advance. Spaced repetition and reinforcement are effective techniques for memorization, with flashcard software programs making the process simple. By creating flashcards while deconstructing the skill, you can systematize the review process and track recall, learning new ideas, techniques, and processes in record time. The Headway app's spaced repetition feature can also help learn and remember the most important information from book summaries. Consistent review of the decks can help memorize necessary concepts and ideas quickly. By implementing these tips, you can acquire new skills more efficiently and effectively. Chapter 11. To make your practice more efficient, it's essential to create scaffolds and checklists. Scaffolds are structures that ensure you approach the skill the same way every time, while checklists are handy for remembering things that must be done every time you practice. Creating these systems frees your attention to focus on more important matters and makes your practice easier to visualize, which can help with mental rehearsal. Part of the skill acquisition process involves experimentation, trying new things to see if they work. Making and testing predictions based on observations, knowns, and hypotheses can help acquire skills more rapidly. Keeping track of these predictions and generating new ideas in a notebook or other reference tool can lead to more fruitful experiments to test. Your brain and body have biological needs like food, water, exercise, rest, and sleep. Pushing yourself too hard can be counterproductive, as your body and mind won't produce useful output without the proper inputs. The optimal learning cycle appears to be approximately 90 minutes of focused concentration, after which your mind and body need a break. Using a timer for 60 to 90 minutes before starting practice or research can help remember to take a break when done. Practice can also be split into smaller parts with a short break in the middle if needed, such as 20 minutes of practice followed by a 10-minute break. Creating scaffolds and checklists can make practice more efficient, freeing attention to focus on more important matters. Experimentation and making and testing predictions can also aid in acquiring skills rapidly. Keeping track of predictions and generating new ideas in a notebook or reference tool can lead to fruitful experiments. It's important to remember that your brain and body have biological needs, and pushing yourself too hard can be counterproductive. The optimal learning cycle appears to be approximately 90 minutes of focused concentration, after which a break is necessary. Using a timer or splitting practice into smaller parts with a break can help ensure proper rest and recharge. By implementing these tips, you can acquire new skills more efficiently and effectively. Conclusion: to acquire skills rapidly, it's crucial to eliminate distractions in your environment. Distractions come in two forms: electronic and biological. Electronic distractions like television, phone, and the internet should be turned off, unplugged, blocked, or removed from the environment unless they're necessary for the practice itself. Anticipating and eliminating distractions before starting practice can preempt them and improve focus. Knowing what you're getting into, learning the fundamentals, practicing intelligently, and developing a practice routine are crucial for making progress more quickly and consistently and achieving expert status in record time. Starting with 20 hours of rapid skill acquisition can increase the chances of success when ultimately deciding to master a skill. Eliminating distractions before starting practice is crucial for improving focus and acquiring skills rapidly. Electronic distractions should be turned off, unplugged, blocked, or removed unless necessary for the practice itself. Knowing what you're getting into, learning the fundamentals, practicing intelligently, and developing a routine can lead to consistent progress and expert status in record time. Starting with 20 hours of rapid skill acquisition can increase the chances of success in mastering a skill. By implementing these tips, new skills can be acquired more efficiently and effectively.